here we are in America, Eastern America, with the Iroquois Confederation, the Seneca tribe. And this may be prehistoric, undated world music. On the other hand, the Iroquois tribes got together and formed a federation, a democracy, really, in what equates to the Middle Ages in Europe. Amazing. And where did the Amerindians originate? Well, according to various native peoples, there are various stories from archaeologic, anthropologic, scientific investigations. It seems that many people came across the Bering Land Bridge during the last ice age. More snow, more ice, sea level drops, and people came over. Ironically, there was more snow in the mountains, and so there is evidence that people only got as far as Alaska for a while, and then had to wait for an interglacial age to move farther south. DNA confirms this, as does, in a sense, music. We've already taught Asia there being a tradition of pentatonic music, 5 notes per octave. And what do we have in this alligator dance? And by the way, this clearly seems to suggest this is a New York tribal dance. Not many alligators in New York except in the contemporary sewers. So the nearest alligators would be in Florida. This bespeaks trade back and forth on the eastern seaboard, not then. And we have a pitch language that corresponds to what we'll call a Chinese minor pentatonic scale, or maybe an American Indian minor pentatonic scale, Native American. And I'm thinking it starts on the so as so, 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 fa, re, so, 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 fa, re, fa, so, so, fa, re, te, do. Nice. And again, that te, do that we've seen in a variety of countries rather than ti-do. This seems to have mixed meters also, by the way. A variety. I have notated it in a variety of 6/4, 3/4, 4/4, even 2/4. And we have melody and accompaniment, the accompaniment of drums and rattles. So we have both idiophones and membranophones, and we will talk about both soon enough. But the middle of the song really ups the ante of the pitches. We're in sort of an F-sharp Chinese major, Native American major tonality, and I've identified the scale as basically here. And that would be do, re, fa, so, te, do. The way it's actually utilized is do, re, fa, so, fa, re, do, te, do. But in the middle of the piece, wonderfully additive, many extra pitches as do, 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 mi, haven't had that, do, do, mi, fi, mi, ra, do. Wow, almost a gypsy scale from Eastern Europe. Coincidence? Not all these are used at once, of course. Do, ra, re, mi, fa, fi, so, te, do. Is this incipient blues in America? Who knows? A total number of scale degrees of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Most of our scales have 7. From here, the Great Plains of America, from the movie Dances with Wolves. And we have not only an Indian chant, but also the wonders of buffalo sounds.
Buffaloes! Buffaloes! I've seen buffaloes!
Tatanka, ja. Tatanka. Tatanka. Ja. Tatanka Kiaglialo. Tatanka Kiaglialo.
And on to California with the woman's brush dance from the Yurok tribe. And this is Chinese or Native American pentatonic major, which in this case is a D major, and starts out definitely monophonically with just, I'd say, here's the D major pentatonic. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do. And in D, it's D, E, F sharp. You got that happy major third. And then sol, perfect fifth there. And a la. But the la is, once again, never above. Remember, our tes often were below, and this happens here too. So we start monophonically with wonderfully resonant female voice, and we have so, mi, re, do, re, do, la, so, do. The fact that the compass is from so to so, in medieval Europe they would have called that the use of a hypo scale. So, shall we say hypo D pentatonic major? Sure, why not? All in 4/4. Do you notice that the men have snuck in, and they sneak in with this hey-yo, ho-yo, ho-yo, and they're actually doing the chants behind. And by the way, those syllables may or may not have one-to-one communicative context. There is almost an analog in a lot of Native American traditions with what happened in medieval Europe. The language of Christianity, the liturgical language, had been Latin. Latin was forgotten. Matter of fact, even it's almost like a Monty Python parody. When the elements were lifted, hoc est corpus mea. This is my body. Hoc est corpus meus. And the people in the back of the hall couldn't quite hear. Blessed are the cheesemakers. Instead, they said, "What is this hocus pocus?" And that was, this is my body lifted up. That's known in Catholic belief in transubstantiation, when the body and the elements, the bread and wine, are turned into the body and blood of Christ. But we will be talking about this later. Of course we will. So at any rate, the syllables behind hey-yo, ho-yo may or may not have direct meaning, but we know, and they know, they are holy syllables. But they are chanted in a variety of ways. And so even if you were looking at that simple chant of hey-yo, ho-yo, we've got ha in the background, and that is yet our fourth texture. It is known as heterophony or heterophonic music. So the four textures of music: monophonic, one sound; heterophonic, one basic sound but performed in a variety of ways; then polyphonic, several sounds at once; and then homophonic, the melody plus accompaniment. A hierarchy where one melody is definitely more important than the others. And it's always a judgment call. The rattles here, which are probably on the costumes of the dancers, and these are no doubt deer rattles. If you think it's interesting enough, you might say, well, that's another melody. Or if the hey-yo, ho-yo, that's another melody too. All right, one more thing. Check out the structure. There are 3 verses, and each of these verses has an organization that is predictable but not totally predictable in that you first have a 3-bar phrase. So, mi, re, do, re, mi, do, la, so, do, do. There's also a little bum, 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 syncopation at the end, the accent on the wrong syllable. We had that with the West African musical bow. That's repeated at least in the first verse 3 times. Then the second phrase is, in a sense, a truncation of the first phrase. It is really a variant of the last 2 of the 3 measures, and that's re, mi, do, la, so, do, do. And that happens twice. Then it goes on with a variant of the first phrase. We could call the first phrase A, the second phrase B, and B is really a variant of A. And now the return of A is another variant, and we have so, mi, re, do, mi, do, la, so, do. You can almost get a computer program to be programmed to do this. You might say substitute all of the dotted quarter notes with eighth notes, and you'd have that. In the first time through, that happens twice. And then a final phrase, which is kind of like the second phrase, the B, varied. And once again, the principle, more eighth notes than quarter notes. And re, mi, do, la, so, do, re. The 3 overall, shall we say, choruses of this music, the internal repeat structures change remarkably each time, so one is never totally sure of what one's hearing, which is quite wonderful. And then as well, do you notice that the male singers crescendo and crescendo, building up the dynamics, and we really haven't had dynamics used in such a dynamic way as this, until they really almost swamp the female singers. Seems like the male singers are pretty old, I'm just guessing, and the female singer rather young. Wow. Oh, and it's also a healing dance, and it's used these days, actually, as much for tourist attraction as for ritual, which is totally fine, right? And since we've now had wooden idiophones and also drums, time to talk about both. Well, after all that, we still have to talk about the idiophones made of wood. And here's a log drum, although this is a fairly sophisticated one. And in the background, check it out. We've got a couple of probably pottery pots, right? Clay pots. We'll get back to them. Not exactly musical instruments, but I bet we can make sounds out of them. Let's go just briefly, though, to an even more basic log drum. Here it could be, although this is really 3 instruments in one. And we'll get energized and motorized about this. So this is really a toy instrument from Jamaica. But we can play it in 3 different ways. As a log drum, just simply a hollowed out log, right? But it also has a series of notches along this side. So it can become a scraper known as a guiro. Lovely. And it's actually also broken, unfortunately, a membranophone at top. So it's a combination membranophone, idiophone. But we were focusing on the log drum, so let's continue log drum-wise. And here we have a notched manufactured log drum with 8 potential pitches. Wooden, or at least vegetative, solid body percussion can also take the form of rattles, maracas, seed pods within, other bits of solid body whatever. And finally, from South America, the rain stick. Little items in a long tube. It does one thing, but it does it extraordinarily well. Actually, not entirely true, because the angle at which you allow the beads to fall can vary. And so not being held totally vertically, the rain lasts longer. But how long can we make the rain last at a gentle inclination? more of a torrent.